So this is the seventh entity in the creation story, and the seventh direction. The first one being above, Gizulk. The whole sky is what we call creation, or the mystery of creation, and everything around us. And then Grandfather Sun, who gives us our spirit, our soul, our shadow, that we are connected to the earth, in the same way that Glooscap was still connected to the earth when he stood up. And so we're connected to our ancestors by our breathing apparatus and our blood and our air and our spirit and our soul. And this is the element that is important to understand. So Mother Earth. Then we look to the east, the direction of the rising sun. Our culture hero, Glooscap, who was created on Mother Earth. We look to him for direction, guidance, an example of what leadership is all about. We look to the grandmothers, the knowledge keepers, the elders, and our grandfathers as well, but the grandmothers are the ones that are really the teachers of the young guys and the men in our culture and our traditions. And then we look to the young people, and they are our backbone of our culture and society. They are the eyes. They see us. They look at the adults, and we as adults need to leave a legacy of survival for them. And then to the west, our mothers. So when we do a sacred ceremony, I'm going to show you in a minute, we offer the smoke. Giver of life, Grandfather Sun, Mother Earth, to the east, to the south, to the west, to the north. And this is how we offer our thanks to those seven entities that arrived into the world to make our world. The next chapter of this creation story is the eagle comes back and visits Glooscap and tells him, Glooscap, you and your grandmother have to leave this world. You have to leave it. Go to the west and north and land of the spirit somewhere, and leave your mother and your nephew to look after this fire. Because out of this fire, when a spark flies in the air and hits the earth, a woman is going to be created. 7 sparks will fly from this fire to make 7 women. And 7 more sparks will fly to make 7 men. And so they will form 7 families. Older women, younger men. So there will be 7 families. The Mi'kmaq is one of those families. But also it's a representation that each of those cultural groups, the Mi'kmaq, the Abenaki, the Cree, the Ojibwe, the Blackfoot, the Unama'ki, the Narragansetts down south, they all formed 7 original Algonquian-speaking families. And in order for us not to forget the significance and the meaning of that number 7, we will divide ourselves into 7 clan groups. And today, people, we have 7 clan groups that are divided into 7, what we call the 7 districts of the Mi'kmaq Grand Council, and I am a hereditary chief representing one of those 7 districts on the Mi'kmaq Grand Council. But before I jump ahead too far, Glooscap was told by the eagle that after these 7 families are formed, they will disperse from the area of the great fire. They will take pieces of the original fire with them, the Chibukto, and they will spread themselves out into 7 distinct areas. The people arriving here in Mi'kma'ki, which is the Gaspé Peninsula, North Shore of New Brunswick, down as far as the mouth of the St. John River, all of Nova Scotia, all of Prince Edward Island, part of Newfoundland. So we're spread out into 7 Atlantic provinces, maritime provinces, and 5 provinces, into 7 districts. We didn't have provinces before. We were just Mi'kma'ki and 7 clan groups. So Glooscap was told by the eagle After the passing of 7 winters, you will come back to the area of where I was created, where Glooscap was created. And in order to signify the importance of those first 4 levels of creation, giver of life, grandfather, son, Mother Earth, and Glooscap, those sparks of fire will be brought together, 7 of them, to recreate this Chibukto, or the Great Earth Fire, held together by those 7 Algonquian-speaking groups and nations. So, after the passing of 7 winters, you come here and you bring this fire back together. In order not to forget the significance and the meaning of all of this, grandmother's creation came from the rock on the ground, the stone. So you'll take 7 rocks to represent the 7 levels of creation. Giver of life, grandfather, son, Mother Earth, Glooscap, grandmother, nephew, and mother. 7. So you take 7 stones and put them in the fire, and then you also recognize the 7 original families. Okay, Mi'kmaq and all those other Algonquian-speaking nations. 7 more rocks. 7 more rocks to represent the 7 clans of each of those groups, like Geskabegiwa, Signiktugewa, Ebeg, Gespogwitgewa, Sugabanaga Eskegiaewa, and Unama'ki. There'd be the 7 districts of the Mi'kmaq Grand Council, and these are the families in those 7 areas. So 7 more rocks would be brought into the fire. That's 21 rocks so far. But he said 7 more rocks to represent the 7 sacred medicines that are the strongest medicines for each one of those 7 original families. And the Mi'kmaq brought the Gigwasuapsk, which is a calamus root. And the Mi'kmaq chief, who represented his family, inside of this sweat lodge, the sweat lodge that is made like a north face dome tent, but it has sort of like 2 saplings bent over together, east to west, 2 north to south, 2 diagonally, and the 7th one to weave everything together. We put 7 skins of animals, the bear, moose, caribou, over the sweat lodge, and the 7 rocks are in the direction of the east. The door of the sweat lodge is open towards the east. And the fire is there, and it has 28 rocks in the fire. And we come inside, and all the chiefs that represent the 7 original families sit around inside the sweat lodge, which is only about this high, and it's about 12, 13 feet wide, and 7 of the original chiefs from the original family sit around in this honoring the grandmother through the heating the rocks and bringing 7 rocks inside and 7 chiefs inside. You close the door and you put you put the water on the rocks to create the steam, because dew formed over the rocks, if you recall, at grandmother's creation. So water is placed on the rocks, and usually the water, sometimes it's salt water, sometimes it's water that has been boiled with cedar boughs or spruce boughs or spruce bark of the spruce tree, and the water has medicinal value in it when you throw it on the rocks, and it is a medicine that we sweat inside, pray inside. We ask for, when we're doing the first sweat, we're facing the direction of the east, and we're praying for the Glooscap, our leadership. And so we pray around for our leadership, and we give thanks and everything. And then our sweat is actually us offering our body, part of our body, back to Mother Earth. Some cultures have what they call a sun dance, and they pierce their skin and they offer their blood to Mother Earth. This is part of the negotiation process for our sustenance and our survival. So the sweat lodge ceremony, you're offering your sweat, you're enduring heat. It's hot in there, and you're sweating. So the door opens. Come on, bring in 7 more rocks. This time we're going to honor the grandmothers, the knowledge and wisdom keepers. So they bring in the 7 more rocks, close the door, it's black inside, and all you see is the glowing red rocks that are in there, and the heat that is emanating from there. And then water is poured on the rocks, and so steam is created, and we sweat again, and again, to our grandmothers, and all knowledge keepers, and so on and so forth. So, and then the door is open, then we bring in 7 more rocks for the young people. We honor the young people. And then we do the same thing, and then we open the door. The steam goes out, and everybody takes a deep, fresh breath air of fresh air, a breath of fresh air. So, and then they call 7 more rocks for the last round to honor the direction of earth and our mothers. And so this is how we do the sweat lodge ceremony. But long ago they said there were 7 rounds to honor Giver of Life and Grandfather, Son, and Mother Earth as well. So I did one, and it takes about 6 hours altogether to do that sweat lodge. It's really, really hot and really long, and it's you come out of there and you feel like you're as light as a feather, because you've sweated off a lot of the weight in your body, which is liquid. So this is the sweat lodge ceremony to honor and give thanks to grandmother. But in order not to forget the significance and the meaning of the young person, Nedawansum, who owed his existence from the foam, all the elements of the earth, and then he rested on this sweetgrass, the hair of our Mother Earth. And so we pick the grass from our Mother Earth, and we honor it, we respect it, like I do with my own hair, and I honor it and keep it out of my face and braid it and tie it up. And so that's what we do with the hair of our Mother Earth. And it represents that young person, Nedawansum, Glooscap's nephew. And so we light the sweetgrass on the fire, and the smoke that comes from there always represents the words and the prayers of the collective. So we say, thank you, Giver of Life. Thank you, Grandfather, Son. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, Glooscap, elders, young people, and our mothers. So we're offering this smoke, our words and our prayers to those 7 entities. But also, we light it and we offer it to ourselves. We say, oh, I'm cleansing my mind because I'm going to be engaged in a very sacred ceremony. So I'm cleansing my mind, my ears. So when you're smudging, you clean your ears, your eyes. Those 7 sacred entities Glooscap received when the second bolt of lightning, his nose, our mouth, our heart, connected to what we do and how we operate things. It's governed by our heart, not our brain. Our elders tell us the brain, the only thing it's good for is tanning hides. So, and it's an excuse, they say. You did something, I didn't mean to do it, and so they say it's a poor excuse. My mind just skipped a little bit, just hang on.
You were smudging at your heart.
Smudging to your heart, your arms, and around your body. So that is part of the smudging ceremony with the sweetgrass. And then not to forget the significance of the mother that owed her existence from a plant, a leaf of a tree. We take the leaves of the plant, we call it damawi, meaning those leaves we use to fill something. It doesn't say what, but to fill something. Leaves to fill. Damawi. Edamawi. Edamaan. Edaman. So we take tobacco that represents the mother. Again, we make the offering, giver of life, thank you for giving us our life, and we put it in the fire. Grandfather, Son, thank you for giving us our spirit, our shadow, our images of our ancestors. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, Glooscap. Thank you, grandmothers. Thank you, young people. Thank you, others. And each time offering it into the... So this is what we call a tobacco offering ceremony. If you arrive at any place where a fire is going, a sweat lodge or a sacred fire or a powwow, and there's tobacco there, well, that's what it's there for. Enough to be able to offer into the 7 sacred directions, and you're done. If there's a fire, you look to the east, giver of life, grandfather, son, mother, earth, Glooscap, and then you walk over grandmother, and then young people, and to the north. So you would travel all around the fire each time putting a piece of tobacco. So Glooscap was told, in order to put everything all into a meaningful whole, you take the stone, the Ma'anapsk. There's a place way up in Newcastle, New Brunswick, into the forest near the Brunswick Mines area. There's a place called the Ma'anapsk, a river. And along the river, there's a rock protruding out of the water, and it's a black, kind of a almost catlinite, but it's not catlinite. There's another name for it, scientific name for it, but I don't have it here right now. I have the Mi'kmaq scientific name for it, the Ma'anapsk. So we take the rock that grandmother owes her existence, and we shape it into a pipe. But the stem of the pipe, remember the plant where Glooscap's mother came from? Well, we take a stem of that plant and form the pipe. So we have the spirit of the grandmother and the spirit of the mother into this. And then we take the mother, the leaf of the plant. O gisukulaliek, niskamijualaliek, kijinen, Glooscap, nugami, nadawansam niganaganim kuzisk. And the tobacco is filled 7 times, and we offer the pipe. We always say, "Oh, giver of life, thank you for allowing me to carry this for my people. This is not my pipe; it's my people's pipe. It's a venue for them, for our prayers to go above and beyond, and so." Certain people are given the responsibility to carry these pipes. It is a Mi'kmaq pipe. It is traditionally designed. I made this pipe, but it's a copy of one, a replica of one that is in a museum in Belfast, Northern Ireland. I've been there to see it. Anyway, it represents our grandmother. It's been filled 7 times, and we light the sweetgrass, the nephew, in the fire, and we blow the smoke to giver of life. Thank you for giving me my life. Grandfather, Son, thank you for giving me my spirit, my shadow, my soul. Mother Earth, we blow the smoke and offer the stem to the east, to the south, west, north, and eating, giver of life, thank you, and Glooscap, Nugami, Nedawansam, and Niganaganim Kuzisk. So the pipe is offered to all of those sacred entities, but also we offer the stem of the pipe when we are all done, after the pipe has been 4 times in a circle of people. Then the pipe carrier will take the pipe and say his closing prayers that we are all, these are all our collective words. We're entrusting them to you, giver of life, grandfather, son, Mother Earth, and so on and so forth. But when in closing, he goes back from the last direction that was offered. Oh, Mother, young people, grandmothers, our leader, our Mother Earth, grandfather, son, and giver of life, Gizulk. And this is the end of the pipe ceremony, and usually the pipe is broken and put down, and then we acknowledge our presence and give hugs to each other, and this is how the pipe ceremony ends. But as part of our negotiation of survival, what a lot of times we do is if we're working with our neighbors, our nation next door to us, we will enter into this dialogue with them, saying, hey, you guys, you killed a moose last week at about 10 o'clock. No. And it was in our territory, so you're disrupting our way of life. So we've come to seek apology from you. And so they would engage in this ceremony. They would engage in gift giving, and they would engage in feasting and dancing and drumming and celebrating. And before they separate from one another, the group would say, well, since you offended us really, really bad in that instance, I want you to bury your tomahawk in the earth. And we're going to put ours on top, okay? And so this is how our nations dealt with one another. And sometimes one group would say, well, as a peace initiative, we're going to give you some of our young daughters to grow up in your community. So in the event that we had a misunderstanding, none of us would run over there and kill us. We would be attacking our own family, our own children. So it was a way to guarantee peace, and our side would say, well, the reason why you buried your tomahawk first and ours last is if you raised your tomahawk against us, that means our tomahawk is exposed, so we can take it in defense of ourselves and our territories, our elders, our women, our children, and so on. So this term, Nesquat, American anthropologists came and studied Mi'kmaq people, and they studied that they were dancing around and they were waving this hatchet. So it must be a war dance. But it's not a war dance. Nesquat is like your war, a blow to yourself. And usually the tomahawk usually was held in this way, not in an aggressive fashion. It was held in this way. So that was what we called the Nesquat dance, which got misnamed to be the war dance. And it wasn't the war dance. And the tomahawk was not a weapon, it was a tool of survival.